Breaking news. A glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. Israel and Hamas ink a preliminary ceasefire, paving the way for hostage releases. Imagine the relief washing over families who've been waiting anxiously for months. This could be the moment that brings loved ones home. But here's where it gets controversial. Is this a genuine step toward lasting peace, or just a temporary pause in a conflict that scarred so many lives? Stick around as we dive into the latest developments, unpacking what we know, what remains shrouded in mystery, and why this deal has everyone talking. In a surprising turn of events, Israel and Hamas have agreed to the initial phase of a ceasefire agreement for Gaza, with both parties putting their signatures on the dotted line just yesterday. This first step aims to stop the hostilities in Gaza and involves Hamas freeing all the remaining hostages they've been holding. In return, Israel would let go of a number of Palestinian prisoners. However, the deal isn't set in stone yet. It still requires approval through a vote by Israel's government before it can officially take effect. The news has sparked waves of celebration and a cautious optimism among people on both sides of the divide, Israelis and Palestinians alike. For beginners wondering what a ceasefire really means, think of it as a mutual agreement to lay down arms temporarily, giving everyone a breather from the fighting that's defined this region for far too long. Many specifics of the arrangement are still up in the air, such as the exact timing for Israel to cease operations in Gaza. And this is the part most people miss, the bigger, more challenging elements of the broader U.S.-supported plan to wrap up the war, like getting Hamas to disarm and ensuring a complete pullout of Israeli forces, have been deferred to talks down the line. President Donald Trump announced yesterday that the hostages could be freed as early as Monday or Tuesday, and he's planning a trip to Egypt to oversee the formal signing of the plan. What we know, and don't know, about this ceasefire deal so far. Let's break it down step by step, keeping things clear and straightforward so even newcomers to this story can follow along. Israel's government is convening this afternoon for a crucial meeting where they're expected to vote on endorsing the agreement. Once that's done, the deal is slated to be signed in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, right after, essentially locking in the preliminary terms both sides have already nodded to. Once everything is officially approved, Israeli forces would have just 24 hours to begin withdrawing, maintaining control over about 53% of the Gaza Strip, as per details from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office. The ceasefire itself would kick off within 24 hours of that cabinet session, according to Israeli statements. Following that initial 24-hour window, Hamas would get 72 hours to release the hostages who are still alive. President Donald Trump reiterated yesterday that the remaining Israeli hostages in Hamas's custody will be let go on Monday or Tuesday as the ceasefire plan rolls out, and he'll be heading to Egypt to attend the signing ceremony. Expect a significant influx of humanitarian aid to flow into Gaza, helping to address the dire needs of the people there. Think food, medicine, and rebuilding supplies to ease the suffering caused by the prolonged conflict. Under Trump's proposed framework, Israel would free 250 Palestinian prisoners serving life sentences, plus around 1,700 others detained from Gaza since October 7, 2023, including all women and children. The exact list of prisoners is still being ironed out, as noted by Netanyahu's office. Now, onto the unknowns, and trust me, these are the bits that have sparked heated debates among experts and everyday folks alike. The more complex facets of the larger deal, such as forcing Hamas to disarm, bringing in international peacekeeping forces to Gaza, and achieving a total withdrawal of Israeli troops, weren't touched upon in the initial announcements from the key players. Hamas representatives have expressed a desire for a firm U.S. assurance that Israel won't restart airstrikes on Gaza once the hostages are released. It's not clear if the United States or other mediators provided anything beyond verbal promises, a point that's sure to fuel arguments about trust and reliability in international agreements. The volume of humanitarian aid that can actually make it into Gaza remains uncertain. Trump's original blueprint promises that full aid will be immediately sent into the Gaza Strip and handled by the United Nations and similar groups. But, without specifics, some wonder if logistical hurdles or political roadblocks could limit its impact. Live coverage contributors, 25. Just now, during yesterday's cabinet meeting, Secretary of State Marco Rubio shared a candid reflection. A month ago, he believed a peace accord between Israel and Hamas was utterly unattainable. He gave credit to President Donald Trump's visit to the Middle East in May for laying the groundwork, and highlighted a UN gathering Trump organized for Muslim-majority nations last month as the pivotal shift. Perhaps the stories will be told. Perhaps it will never be told. The president had some extraordinary phone calls and meetings that required a high degree of intensity and commitment and made this happen, Rubio remarked. It's moments like these that remind us how behind-the-scenes diplomacy can sometimes defy the odds. But here's the controversial twist. While some hail Trump's involvement as a diplomatic triumph, others argue it might just be a short-term fix that ignores deeper grievances. Could this deal truly lead to disarmament and lasting stability, or is it setting the stage for future flare-ups? And what about the ethics of prisoner swaps? Are they fair exchanges, or do they reward actions that many consider terrorism? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you see this as a breakthrough or a band-aid solution? Agree or disagree in the comments below. Let's discuss.